coffee, squad way. I'm over here at the Crazy Riot Show, man. Tune in. I'll be lost, you hear me?
It's a crazy ride show, man. You know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. Yeah, you know that we bustin', yeah. We the topic discussion, yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. Hold up, the crazy ride show, man. You know that we bustin', yeah.
The Crazy Riot Show.
What's good, y'all, man? It's your boy Von Mock, a.k.a. Put him in the coffin, squad way. I'm over here at the Crazy Riot Show, man. Tune in. I'll be lost, you hear me?
It's a crazy ride show, man. You know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. Yeah, you know that we bustin', yeah. We the topic discussion, yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. Hold up, the crazy ride show, man. You know that we bustin', yeah. We the topic discussion, yeah. Yeah, cause you know that we bustin', yeah. Yeah. Twerk song, Lake County, hold up, twerk song, yeah. Hold up, twerk song, Lake County, turn up, twerk song, hold up, yeah. Twerk song, hold up, shorty want twerk song, Lake County, say we got twerk song, hold up, nigga, that twerk song, hold up, yeah. Twerk song, Lake County, hold up, twerk song, shorty, yeah. Twerk song, Lake County, turn up, twerk song, yeah. Hold up, twerk song, Lake County, turn up, twerk song. I said twerk song. I said twerk song, yeah. It's the Crazy Morning Riot. We about to start a riot. It's a Crazy Morning Riot. You ain't about it, nigga. What you want about it? It's a Crazy Morning Riot. We about to start a riot.
Yo, what's good? It's the Crazy Ride Show. It's the boy Los Crazy. Shout out to Shaq the God, Desi Bando, State on Fly. I'm in the building, ladies and gentlemen, with a very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Adam Broad is in the building right now, ladies and gentlemen. Checked in. He is running for Congress, ladies and gentlemen. He's not playing no games. He's trying to take this thing and get it done. Share this video if you're live with us right now. It is Wednesday night. You know we got Karaoke Wednesday tonight at Stretch's Bar and Grill. Make sure you pull up and be in the building. But we are here talking to a man that I've seen in the community numerous times. He's always where it's at. He's always involved in what's going on. I see him out all the time. Adam, you're running for Congress. Tell me about what caused you to move in this direction in politics. What made you want to do that?
It's an extension of the activism I got involved with as part of our revolution, which is came out of the Bernie Sanders campaign in 2016 after the senator was defeated in the primary. We started a political revolution to, I guess, reform the Democratic Party and try to create a Democratic Party that does not bend to the big money, but just stands on principles and does what is needed for the community, not what's needed for corporations.
Right.
Strictly, I mean, it's not like I'm against all corporations or against people making a living. I just am against people making a killing. I'm against toxic pollution, the ETO emissions in our community, environmental racism, and looking for a healthcare system reform so that we have a healthcare system that doesn't bankrupt and kill Americans, rather than have what they have in other countries where everybody's in and nobody's out.
Right.
And how much money you make or what zip code you live in doesn't affect the quality of your healthcare or your access to it. And I'm also not interested in a two-tier system that's a Cadillac system for the well-off and a broken down bus for the rest of us, because that's what we have. And looking for something better. And other countries have it, and they pay less for it than we do. And I'm also looking for environmental solutions. We have a climate emergency. We need immediate, powerful investment of the government into communities, especially ones like this where we could have solar retrofitting and other things that we can do to transform to clean, renewable energy, and which will, by the way, be more inexpensive in the long run and keep the planet is a place where we can live as human beings. We're looking at a very short span of survival at the rate we're going. My grandchildren will not be able to have grandchildren surviving on this planet the way we're going. I know most people are wrapped up in their own stuff and trying to make ends meet. But the beautiful thing about a Green New Deal is that aside from saving the planet, we're going to invest in communities and create millions of union jobs and put people to work and be able to hold their heads up high, making a good living and doing something positive for the community. Like this transformation is going to take a lot of work. We need to put people to work, making good wages, and that's what's good for the community, not what we have where all the money is going to the top. And those of us at the bottom have less and less, while those at the top have more and more. And the people at the top are the ones that don't need more. They're doing just fine. And if anyone should be getting by on their own bootstraps, it's the people at the very top who have billions. It's working people that need the government to stand up and go to work for us.
Do you think that the ideas that you have, because even in conversating with you, even here or in other times I've talked to you, you seem to be like a grassroots guy. You're in the community. You're down to earth. In the political realm, that politician usually is the one that's kind of like outcasted. Some people would kind of put him over there, like he's too realistic. Have you dealt with any of that backlash and dealing in this?
Well, certainly. Even people who claim to share my policy stances and my values have distanced themselves from me because it's very unpopular running against Brad Schneider. And the leadership of the Democratic Party decided in a closed room or somewhere that ourselves from me because it's very unpopular running against Brad Schneider. And
community, you're down to earth. In the political realm, that
to clean renewable energy, and which will, by the way, be more inexpensive in the long run and keep the planet is a place where we can live as human beings. We're looking at a very short span of survival at the rate we're going. My grandchildren will not be able to have grandchildren surviving on this planet the way we're going. I know most people are wrapped up in their own stuff and trying to make ends meet. But the beautiful thing about a Green New Deal is that aside from saving the planet, we're going to invest in communities and create millions of union jobs and put people to work and be able to hold their heads up high, making a good living and doing something positive for the community. Like this transformation is going to take a lot of work. We need to put people to work, making good wages, and that's what's good for the community, not what we have where all the money is going to the top. And those of us at the bottom have less and less, while those at the top have more and more. And the people at the top are the ones that don't need more. They're doing just fine. And if anyone should be getting by on their own bootstraps, it's the people at the very top who have billions. It's working people that need the government to stand up and go to work for us.
Do you think that the ideas that you have, because even in conversating with you, even here or in other times I've talked to you, you seem to be like a grassroots guy. You're in the community. You're down to earth. In the political realm, that politician usually is the one that's kind of like outcasted. Some people would kind of put him over there, like he's too realistic. Have you dealt with any of that backlash and dealing in this?
Well, certainly. Even people who claim to share my policy stances and my values have distanced themselves from me because it's very unpopular running against Brad Schneider. And the leadership of the Democratic Party decided in a closed room or somewhere that our incumbents shouldn't be challenged. But I think the Democratic Party should be democratic, and we should definitely have a progressive challenger to a congressman who has the second lowest loyalty rating in the Congress. He votes with the Republican Party more than just about any other Democrat, and I've been ostracized for advancing my healthcare policies, which really are embraced by a majority of Democrats in the House of Representatives. But our congressman is one of the people blocking that, and he's not pushing it, he's obstructing it. And he has some good stands on other issues, but he's just completely dead wrong on the two most important things, which is Medicare for all and the Green New Deal. He's just dead wrong, and our like I said, our very survival on the planet is being threatened by this kind of inaction or this ideological, I don't know what to call it. It's not prudent. It's not wise. And we don't need political leaders who give us excuses for why they can't do things for the community. We need political leadership that is going to push and agitate to create the change we need. And so, but if you want excuses, if you think the government is working just fine the way it is, if you think another war in the Middle East is maybe the answer to our problems, just go ahead and just accept the status quo. And if you think that you're tired of running in circles with the same game, with this shell game we have with the two parties and the same corporate money funding both parties and having them with their little pro wrestling BS on the television and not doing anything for the people who need it the most, or doing very little or not enough. I mean, go with the progressive movement, okay? We just celebrated Dr. King Day, so, why not stand for people in line with Dr. King's values and what he fought for? Like I said earlier, he wasn't Rodney King. He didn't just say, can we all just get along? He tied economic justice to social justice. It's a necessary thing. So when you want to talk about economic justice, it's a little uncomfortable because, maybe the haves, are not going to be as powerful as they have been. And they'll still be wealthy, but it's just a matter of the political disparity between wealth and just regular working people. It's just that it's getting worse instead of better. So, progress isn't always linear. We just need to get back to power to the community, power to people.
Absolutely.
And when I do power to the people, it's not a shtick for me. That's why I'm in it. I learned that when I first got active, I was at an anti-apartheid rally, and this is what I was taught by the activists. They told me to put my fist in the air, and they were saying, Amandla Nwetu, which is power. Amandla is power, and then the crowd would answer Nwetu, and that's to us. So it's power to people, and I think that's what democracy is.
Nice.
So,
Adam, I want to back up a little bit because I'm fascinated at your approach to the way that you've seen stuff, and I'm curious to know. When did this happen for you where you I don't want to even use the word transform, but where you thought like this? I understand your parents they instilled in you certain thoughts as a child, and you grew up thinking the way that you think today, and I think it's more empowered now. But when did it click for you and say, what, this isn't right, the way that this certain group of people is treated isn't right, I want to do something politically to change that? When did that happen for you?
Well, it started when I was a little kid, and my mom, my mom was not a typical Army wife. She had me marching with a McGovern sign on Victory Drive in Fort Bliss, Texas, and that was not a popular thing to do in 1972.
I'm sure it wasn't,
and it wasn't in line with the way a lot of the other Army wives looked at politics or what their kids should be doing. But my mom definitely gave me that, and I'm very blessed that for whatever flaws my parents had, they were both very much against racism and bigotry, and they both instilled that in me, and I'm very blessed that way, because when you teach your kids that kind of hatred, it's a poison. I think when you look at the president, you see here's a guy who was probably infected by his father, was taught this stuff, never had a chance to. Just a guy that was raised with a diseased mind, and he's so sick. I'm not even sure as Michael Shea said, the comedian, are we sure it's okay to make fun of him?
Right.
You know, he's
right.
sick,
Right.
and maybe we should pray for him instead of hating him.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just all the pain and misery he causes, and all the division. It's easy to be angry at him, but and I have been, but it's not the answer. I mean, I found that all this anger is just eating me up. I can't even carry it so much anymore. So I'm trying to really reinvent myself and grow into this role I'm playing now. And it's just so new to me to be running for Congress. I never imagined myself as a guy that would run for an office like this, and apparently a lot of people share that view that I would.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to grow into it, and I think one way is I've got to let go of that.
Yes.
That anger,
yes.
and try to find the love or have a spiritual path. I've done it a bit, but Dr. King is one of my heroes, but I'm no Dr. King. You know, I don't have the kind of faith. He had a very passionate Christian faith that motivated him, and my faith is very uneven. You know, I believe in God and I have faith, but it's an unsteady faith. It's not my rock. For some people, it's their rock. You know, but I'm a skeptic. You know, I'm a very secular person, so it's a struggle. But spirituality does seem to be. There does seem to be something there for
absolutely for a lot of people. Absolutely,
and I'm still learning. You know, one of the reasons. One of the things that keeps me involved in politics is I do learn by doing it. And
so you're going into this process understanding that you're not a professional politician. You're somebody who believes that you can make change from a political position. You're not necessarily, you don't have the same ideology of I use the word professional politician, or somebody who's been doing it and knows the ins and outs of what to say, how to say it, not do this, not do that. You're just kind of coming into this as somebody who wants to truly change what he's seeing.
Right.
Absolutely. For a lot of people, absolutely.
And I'm still learning. You know, one of the reasons, one of the things that keeps me involved in politics is I do learn by doing it. And
so you're going into this process understanding that you're not a professional politician. You're somebody who believes that you can make change from a political position. You're not necessarily, you don't have the same ideology of I use the word professional politician, or somebody who's been doing it and knows the ins and outs of what to say, how to say it, not do this, not do that. You're just kind of coming into this as somebody who wants to truly change what he's seeing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not that attached to it either. I mean, I'm an activist, you know, and I'm a working class guy. I mean, to me, you know, most of my I've done some. Yeah, most of my professional background is service work. You know, like whether it's a barista or working on the docks, shipping and receiving, driving cabs and limousines, and it's a lot of what I've done. I've done some newspaper work. I have a legal background, which just comes strictly from volunteering for legal assistance clinics, and I got drafted into that just because I could read and work for free. So my attorney drafted me to help at the Land of Lincoln Legal Assistance Foundation, which then was in Murfreesboro, Illinois, and that was how I, and I met him through the anti-apartheid movement, and that was how I got involved in the Jackson campaign in '88, and that was just as a volunteer. So I've always been a volunteer.
Yeah, it seems
and
connected,
hired help.
Yeah, connected to a lot of campaigns. You got a question here?
Yes, sir.
Aaron Kane says, "Where is his campaign information?"
I have a website. It's adambroad2020.org, and I have to say that right now we are just completely rebooting the campaign because we submitted 1,205 signatures for the 808 signature requirement, and we had 350 signatures thrown off, so we were thrown off the ballot. The Board of Elections ruled against us on December 23rd, and they gave us 3 days, including Christmas Eve and Christmas, to come up with affidavits. And during that same time, one of our volunteers had a severe reacted badly. It was an Iraq War veteran who had some trauma and had to be hospitalized for under duress, and it was just between what happened and the short time limit and the fact that one of our comrades was really suffering. The wheels came off completely for us, and so we're rebuilding from scratch as a write-in campaign, and it would have been easy to quit. And I know people thought, why bother going on at this point? You're not on the ballot. And but people were saying that before we were thrown off the ballot. They say, why bother? You're going to lose. And I just said, well, for one thing, I'm running because no one else would. And like I said, I felt this congressman deserved the challenge. He earned the challenge. And I would have preferred someone else, someone better, someone slicker, someone smoother, someone smarter, someone nicer. But no one else was doing it. So I did it, and people encouraged me to do it. So I'm doing it. And if people want an alternative and they could just bother to write the name instead of, it's not as convenient as filling in a little oval, but it's not that much work to just write in Adam Broad. And I am registered as a write-in candidate, so your vote should, in theory, count. I don't have a lot of faith in the integrity of the system right now, unfortunately, but all we can do is keep organizing and keep trying, and if this is just the start of something, that's fine. Right. Someone's got to start, because these programs I'm standing for, this is what we need. This is not, it's not just, a vanity thing for me, because I could have all the vanity in the world without going through all this hard work. I mean,
right.
I could go. All you have to do is look in the community. There's plenty of people puffing themselves up without having to work for it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we're trying to be of service, and we're there for people. If you want an alternative to the status quo, if you want a progressive congressman. And hopefully we have a progressive president, and that would be nice for there to be a progressive congressman from the Illinois 10th District to back that progressive president up.
Absolutely. So I had a few more questions. The first question would be, if you win this spot, this congressman seat, what will you do for this district? What will you directly do that people will say, yes, Adam said he was going to do this, he did it? Or Adam said he was going to do that, he didn't, which we know you're going to do it if you got there.
Absolutely.
What are you looking to do in this district?
Well, so I'm already working toward it, because if we get a Green New Deal, we have to have a customized plan for our district. So we have to figure out the logistics of how we're going to get all that solar put in, and where those jobs are going to be. We need to bring the jobs in. We need to bring the projects in. We need to clean up the toxic waste dumps that have been sitting there. We need to do the things to revitalize our community, to give it a big jump start, put money in the community, and have the kind of massive investment locally that the banks and the military contractors get. This is something we can do instead of that. There's all kinds of better use for our money than starting another war in the Middle East. And we could just make a laundry list, and I'm working on that list now. So I would definitely push for that. I mean, that's still in the drawing stages, but I would also vote for Medicare for All. It's a bill that's in Congress now. Brad wouldn't be there blocking it on the Ways and Means Committee anymore, and the Democrats would have one more vote for single-payer health care, and which also, Brad talks about lowering pharmaceutical costs. I mean, I could always say lowering it. Bernie is talking about a $200 maximum annual copay. I'm talking about, I want to put something on his desk that says zero, and that's the bill in the House right now. So at least I know if Bernie Sanders is president and we put that House bill on his desk, he's not going to veto it because of who he's getting paid by, and we don't have to listen to him. We wouldn't have a president that's taking all that money from all these people and then explaining all the stuff he's doing for them has nothing to do with the money he's getting from those people.
Right.
And that's the problem in politics right now. And it's crazy. We have all this disillusion, and you don't have to be too smart to see that, the damn thing is, the thing is sold out. We're all getting sold out by the system, and we got to stop that. You know, we got to put our tax money to work for us, for our communities, and for working people, not just for the wealthiest people.
Absolutely.
The banks.
Absolutely.
And
no, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
And I'm not taking any of that money, and of course they would never give it to someone like me precisely because I say all this stuff, and this is why other politicians don't say it, because they get paid not to say it.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's deep. Share this video if you're live with us right now. I'm in the building right now. Mr. Adam Broad, he's running for Congress in Illinois, 10th district. That is this district up in this area, and around other areas that's close by too. Hit the share button, like this button, hit the video, do all of that. My last question for you. You have on a Black Lives Matter shirt.
Yes, sir.
What does that mean to you as a person that's been around the community, obviously, but you're not black, so you've seen it from a different lens? What does that look like? I'll ask you that. It'll be a two-part question. What does it look like from the outside to be a black person in America? What do you think? Just from looking at it, what does it look like? It's probably a difficult question, but I want to know.
But I mean, really, that's almost over my head. But I could tell you that it was just coincidence that I showed up at an anti-apartheid rally in 1985, and one thing led to another. You know, and it was like because I took that step, I got involved in the Jesse Jackson campaign in 1988, and because of that, when they were hiring student organizers in 2000, and I had no idea what campaign they were hiring for. And I said, well, what's your political background? And it was like, well, I had canvassed for the Illinois Public Interest Research Group for part of one summer in 1987. So I had an environmentalist background. But then, you know, I said, well, you know, I volunteered for Jesse Jackson and I was involved in the anti-apartheid movement. And then, well, it turned out that Bobby Rush was the guy hiring. So, you know, and I'd known about the history of the Panthers, and so that was my first time I was an organizer working on I was getting $100 a week stipend plus gas money, but I was working in politics, you know, actually surviving and just learning how to be a campaigner, and that led to eventually working for, you know, Barack Obama in 2008. So, I mean, there was this thread of being involved in the African American community and working in the African American community, and it was like, if I act like I know something, well, I learned everything from African American leaders. You know, I'm a product of, you know, a campaign school that was from the Bobby Rush campaign. You know? So I was like, and then I did voting rights work in Florida. I worked in an African American community in Duval County, Florida, where it was voting rights and voter registration. And so how to look for me, I see it, just the injustice is clear. I mean, and I've always been patriotic. I mean, I was raised a military brat, and I had this odd sort of patriotism that came from being just born with a U.S. government stamp on me and, you know, being a military offspring. And my father spent like 15 years in the military. And just that gulf, you know, and I always loved, you know, the Constitution and, you know, what Dr. King called the promises on paper. And it's just so Black Lives Matter. Well, that's the difference between our ideals and just who we really are, you know, which is the disproportionate murder of unarmed black people by police. You know, if they were white kids, you know, from Highland Park getting gunned down in the streets by the cops, you know, their rich parents would flip, you know. But I mean, it happens to you know, black kids from Zion. It's like we don't even hear about it. Doesn't even matter. And I was running for Lake County Clerk in 2018, and I got involved in the community, and I was embarrassed to find out that I didn't know about the Justice Howell shooting, which happened, 15 miles from where I live. And I was just too busy doing my own thing, and I didn't know what had happened. And so then I was running, and that police officer got off scot-free, and I saw that video. And I was around that time, you know, that I got involved with Black Lives Matter, and I got this T-shirt from Clyde McLemore.
Shout out to Clyde McLemore. Shout out to him.
Clyde, you know, Clyde. So, and it's just, and when you see the pushback, it just seems, we can't be the country we want to be if we don't grapple with the brutality of a racist criminal justice system and the discrimination and the lack of economic justice. It's really a threat to the entire republic. It's not just black folks. I mean, it's like America can't be what it's supposed to be as long as we allow this kind of racism and prejudice to dominate our politics. And I think I posted something about the police officer getting off, and the people were advising me. He said, Adam, you're gonna kill your political career. And then people said, I can't believe you put your Black Lives Matter endorsement on the same literature you put out in the white communities. And I said, well, first of all, social media, modern age. I mean, I guess in the old days, politicians would do that all the time. They still do, where they come in here on Black Lives Matter, and I'm talking to black folks. And then over there, go talk like I'm like a Klansman or something over there. And that was the Democratic Party for a long time, unfortunately. But, I mean, that's not me. And it's just sort of like, no justice, no peace. And it just seems like the right thing to do. And I'm just appalled, It's some of my own ignorance, because like I said, I've been connected to the community through all these different things, and I've wanted to understand and do the right thing, but I can still be pretty ignorant about it. I mean, I think when I met Bobby Rush, I thought I'm a real student of history, but I mean, he like Emmett Till. This was 2000. I'm already in my 30s, right? Or and I'm like, oh, Emmett Till the name didn't ring a bell right away. Wasn't and I was like, that's embarrassing. You're the congressman. You're like, I'm really hip. I know about this stuff. Right. You don't know who Emmett Till is, dude. Right. Right. I'd read everything by Malcolm X, and I had read, Du Bois, but I didn't know who Emmett Till was. So that's the thing. So as a Jewish guy, there's what can I know exactly, but I know how to see my struggle and other people's struggle, and I think it's just being a human being, not even I don't. And I've been accused by I was actually a white person said that he thought I was wanting to be black. He's like, he said, Adam, are you trying to be a wigger? Wow, I never heard that term before, but I guess it's a word for a white person. Right. And I said, not at all. I mean, I'm just standing up for social justice. It's like I'm proud of who I am. At least I was up until recently. You want to talk about feeling ashamed of being who you are? I have to admit there was a time I never was ashamed of who I was, but I think it was when there was a lot of Jewish outrage over the Omar's comments about all about the Benjamins. And there was all this outrage. And on that same day, there was an unarmed protester, an unarmed medic, a teenager, who was shot to death by the Israeli Defense Force trying to tend to another unarmed protester who had been shot. So, I mean, all my fellow Jews were like very upset about what this congresswoman said, and they said, what's making us look bad? It's spreading lies about us. I said, what makes us look bad? Shooting unarmed protesters. That's what makes us look bad. And I've never even denied. I was like, you think Zionism is an ugly thing? I don't care. I'm a Zionist. I'll say it. What to me that just means Jewish nationalism is like black nationalism for me. I see it kind of similar. I believe that Jews have a right to live in the land of Jewish origin. Does that mean we have a right to shoot unarmed people while we're there? I don't think so. Right. Are we going to get pushed into the sea if we're not shooting unarmed teenagers? I don't buy that. Right. And I'm talk to these right-wing people, and they clearly have no value for human life if it's not Jewish. Some of them. They're talking about Arabs like they're not human beings. And I think if you're dehumanizing your enemy, even if they're your enemy, even if they're trying to kill you and you have to defend yourself, if you just forget they're human beings, you're going to forget that you're a human being. You're going to become something inhuman yourself. And I know this from experience because I've been there. I know about that kind of hatred, and it's poison, and I just can't live like that. I don't want to be that person, and I don't want to live in a world where those kinds of ideas are dominating. So, I'm just, I'm not trying to be black. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just trying to how about make a world for my grandchildren to live in,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe a world where they can live where they can have grandchildren. Because right now, my grandchildren aren't going to be able to have grandchildren because we're looking at 55 to 60 days of 105 degrees or more in less than a half century.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're looking at what's happening right now on this planet, you know, we gotta take radical steps to change what's going on. We cannot just slow walk this social change. You know, it's 150 years. What is it? How long since the Civil War?
Right.
I mean, we're 150 years after the Civil War. We're still trying to resolve this thing, and we're still dealing with people who can't get over which side won the Civil War and wanting a do-over so that the Confederates there's still people who think this country was better with slavery. There's still people who think that people of color are less than. And I just can't abide by it. And I'm sorry if I'm not polite. And I'm trying to find a constructive way to go about saying I'm not having it.
Right.
And if it's impolite, to rock the boat and say that, you know, that this is tied to a system that is just designed to maintain the power structure the way it is and keep us, the status quo by definition is maintaining this system of racial injustice.
Absolutely.
And as aware as I've been, I haven't been aware enough. And as radical as I've been in the past, I haven't been radical enough. So I have to make up for it a bit, I think. So,
Absolutely.
you know, moving forward, you know, I think consider an apology that I haven't been more radical and more active because I think that's what we need because we got to quit just saying, can we all just get along? Because you know what, we have a serious fight we need to have because this needs to be fixed immediately. Or we're not going to have a future on this planet. None of us. We're all going to burn together on this planet if we don't take strong measures to just learn a new way. It's time to get off the fossil fuel pipe. It's time to get off the greed pipe. It's time to get off the wars in the Middle East pipe. We need a different way of doing things. And I'm sorry that I'm not a better person to be a leader in this movement, but I'm doing the best I can. And I need all of you to help. I need all of you to step up and be part of it. Because there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. Or, you know, I'm learning that I'm very limited as an organizer. I'm not half the organizer I thought I was. Taking on the establishment of both parties at the same time really taught me that I'm not all that. And I'm trying to be, but I'm only going to, you know, we're only going to get there together.
Absolutely.
And so.
Well, I appreciate your transparency, man. And the fact that you're being honest about your position and what you want to do. I believe that you are sincere in what you want to do. And anything I can do to help you get to that next level as far as this show and anything else beyond that, I'll definitely stretch out my hand and help you in whatever way you need help. Seriously.
Yeah, man.
Seriously, because I feel that you're being honest. I feel you're being genuine in what you're saying. I don't think you're pandering or you're trying to dance for people to dance with you. I believe you're what you want to
dance with my wife.
Oh, well, shout out to that. Shout
Sugar,
out to that.
yeah.
Shout out to that.
I like dancing with her.
That's good. That's dope. But again, anything that I could do with this show, anything beyond that, I would definitely help you to do that. Because I believe you're being genuine in what you're saying. And I know Brad. I've met him a few times. We do a lot of parades with Brad. He's always in front of us or in the back of us, my drum line. So I spoke to him on many occasions about things. So it's always a great conversation when we could have a conversation about different things and have different outlooks on it and different views on it and how it's done. Some stuff are done right. Some stuff isn't done so right. But it's up for the people to decide who they want to go with or decide to vote for or whatever. This show doesn't what's the word I'm looking for? Endorse anybody solely. We support everybody who wants to get something out, get their voice out. We don't solely endorse anyone, but we support everybody who wants to speak on whatever they need to speak on. So
I'd like to say something about
what I could do with this show. Anything beyond that, I would definitely help you.
To help, I need all of you to step up and be part of it because there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. Or, you know, I'm learning that I'm very limited as an organizer.
Whatever way you need help, seriously.
Yeah, man.
Seriously, because I feel that you're being honest. I feel you're being genuine in what you're saying. I don't think you're pandering or you're trying to dance for people to dance with you. I believe you're what you want to
dance with my wife.
Oh, well, shout out to that. Shout
Sugar,
out to that.
yeah.
Shout out to that.
I like dancing with her.
That's good. That's dope. But again, anything that I could do with this show, anything beyond that, I would definitely help you to do that. Because I believe you're being genuine in what you're saying. And I know Brad. I've met him a few times. We do a lot of parades with Brad. He's always in front of us or in the back of us, my drum line. So I spoke to him on many occasions about things. So it's always a great conversation when we could have a conversation about different things and have different outlooks on it and different views on it and how it's done. Some stuff are done right. Some stuff isn't done so right. But it's up for the people to decide who they want to go with or decide to vote for or whatever. This show doesn't what's the word I'm looking for? Endorse anybody solely. We support everybody who wants to get something out, get their voice out. We don't solely endorse anyone, but we support everybody who wants to speak on whatever they need to speak on. So
I'd like to say something about that. I probably made this campaign more personal than it needs to be because it's like it's a motivational technique I sometimes use. I make it a. It's part of it's
like a man thing. It's
a campaign or trick.
Yeah,
it's like there was some talk about some Bernie staffers that said some crazy stuff, and the guy, O'Keefe, the Veritas guy, goes around punking people with his camera, and it's like really, it's just a part of campaign culture. I've been a campaign worker, the hired help, and both Democrats and Republicans, you work these long hours. It's very stressful and very repetitive work. You're away from your family, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and a lot of times it's normal in a campaign setting for people to say like really crazy, off the wall stuff as a way to amuse each other and just to keep at it and stay fired up.
It's the banter,
and it's not the message of the campaign, and it's not what the campaign is supposed to be about. And I think sometimes especially when I started out, especially when I first started out, I think I was acting more like a campaigner, like like angry activist in the street guy, community organizer, which I am, but not a representative in Congress. I wasn't acting out the job I was trying to have, so I was being a little, and I also took, my old man taught me. My old man, nothing could rub him the wrong way more than lying to his face. So I just I felt like Brad was being less than honest with me about healthcare, and I just took it as a real personal insult and made it very personal. And it's just maybe he believes what he believes, and it's just I didn't mean I was wrong to there's a video out there, and I left it up there because I wanted people to know that sometimes that's me, and I didn't want to front, but I'm trying to do better going forward. Like I said, I've been re-examining, who I am and where I'm at, and trying to do a better job of being me moving forward, and trying to do a better job of organizing the campaign, because obviously I've between my wife's illness and just everything else, I was not the best organizer I could have been starting this campaign. And if I'd worked half as hard for myself as I did for Barack Obama in 2008, I would have gotten on the ballot no matter what they pulled, and I just didn't, and I have to own that. And but we're still moving forward because it's important that we do.
Absolutely. Shout out to Sharon D. Epps. She says, "Hey Adam." Shout out to Sharon, I love
fellow
her.
poet.
Sharon, absolutely. She says, "Learn a new way. This is a we fight. If we're going to unite together to make things right, we the people." Shout out to Sharon D. Epps. She's always a good one. That's a good lady right there. Shout out to Sharon D. Epps. But again, we got to give a shout out to Adam for coming through today. He's running for Congress. Any more information that we can get, I'm going to post his website on the Crazy Ride Show so people can click the link and be able to check out what they want to check out. And again, I appreciate you coming through.
And there's Twitter too.
Okay.
At Adam Broad 2020.
Absolutely.
And on Facebook at Broad for Congress.
Absolutely.
So
type it in.
I hope to see all of you on the campaign trail, and also don't forget, vote for Bernie Sanders.
Absolutely. You heard what he said, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Crazy Ride Show. Shout out to Shaq the God, Desi Bent. Oh, you got something else? Go ahead. You was good.
Now, if you like any of the things I'm saying, they're pretty much in line with what Bernie Sanders is running on. The one thing I would say the difference is he hasn't formally embraced reparations, and I think I'm going to push for that.
Nice.
And
I could use some reparations.
well, I and it's like Bernie has a very, he has a very good explanation for why he didn't like it. It's not that he's opposed to the grievances. It's just that he's saying that he's worried that they pay out some money and say we good now.
Right.
It's I just want to make clear that I don't think it's something that one lump payment could ever forgive or settle. I think it needs to be paid forward in perpetuity. And I don't know that how do we ever live? We can never make up to the people who lost their lives and freedom doing that. Absolutely. So giving you money doesn't make it up to the suffering
of my ancestors.
Their suffering cannot be taken away from them.
And not equated to any money amount that would be.
That's it. But but it is symbolic, and it does allow us to talk about how this country's wealth was built on the backs of slaves.
Absolutely.
And that it's a debt that has never been paid. And no, the Civil War did not pay that debt. No. It's not paid. No. And so, and nor will any damages paid out in the near future settle that debt. It's a debt. This country, and same thing for the first Americans and losing their land and their culture, the genocide that took place. That's something we're going to be living that down forever. And that's just something we have to just resign ourselves and be honest with it and just do what we can do moving forward to be worthy of our ideals and who we think we are as a country and who we are as a people together.
Absolutely. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you learned a lot from my good friend Adam. He came through today. He spoke a lot. I spoke eloquently about what he believes. Hopefully that you understand where he comes from. Hopefully you involve yourself in the political process coming up. Hope you involve yourself in the census 2020. Make sure you're involved in that.
Very much.
There's a lot of jobs going on for that in the neighborhood, so you can check out your local library to get a little bit more information about Census 2020. It's the Boy Lowe's Crazy. Shout out to Shaq the God, Desi Bando, Stay Dumb Fly. Tonight we at Stretch's Bar and Grill for karaoke, hosted by Big Drew. I will be your DJ on the ones and twos. We'll see you next time.
The Crazy Riot Show.
What's good, y'all, man? It's your boy Mama, a.k.a. Put Him in the Coffin, Squad Way. I'm over here at the Crazy Riot Show, man. Tune in. I'll be lost, you hear me?
It's a Crazy Riot Show. Man, you know that we bust.